As we age, learning to yield in our interactions with others leads to peace and contentment. Laozi once said, "Rivers and seas can become the kings of valleys because they flow downward, making them the rulers of all waters." Flowing streams move downwards, yet even in the lowest valleys, they reign supreme. Majestic seas and vast lakes inspire awe and serenity. Similarly, as we grow older, it benefits us to lower ourselves in the presence of others. Appearing weak can actually bring unexpected joy and freedom. By frequently yielding, we invite applause and respect from others. 1. In relationships, yielding is a lifelong expression of love. My grandfather stood at 6 feet tall, while my grandmother was just over 5 feet. From their heights alone, my grandmother seemed fragile. Yet, my grandfather was always cautious around her. Even when it came to smoking, he would defer to her. No matter how expensive the cigarettes or how rarely he smoked, he couldn't escape her watchful eye. In his later years, my grandmother forbade him from smoking indoors, claiming it made everyone cough. Even on cold winter days, my grandfather had no choice but to step outside, huddling by the door to take a few quick puffs. Why did my strong grandfather seem so afraid of my grandmother? He used to say, "I promised her father I'd treat her well." It was a simple promise, but he honored it for his entire life. In a marriage, the ability to yield, not compete, is the real strength. Whoever can lower their stance becomes the true master of the relationship. At our age, there's no need to struggle over love. Instead, finding the balm for love is far more important. As poet Tennyson said, "In every pair of lovers, one is the fool." Indeed, playing the fool, sometimes pretending not to know, can give your partner face and make them feel exceptional. And in return, you find quiet satisfaction. This is how lowering oneself can lead to double the happiness. For couples who've been together for a lifetime, stubbornness only leads to harm. Yielding is the way to peace. 2. With your children, yielding is accepting their way of showing filial piety. As we age, no matter how well prepared we are for retirement, there will be moments when we're not in control. When our mobility declines, if we remain obstinate, we make things difficult for our children, who must juggle careers, raising kids, and caring for elderly parents. Elders not only expect filial piety but must also give their children the chance to show it. It's important to cooperate with their arrangements when needed. In many cases, while seniors are healthy and their spouse is still around, they can plan their own lives. Even if their children live far away, it's manageable. But once one partner passes away, or if mobility becomes an issue, it's inevitable to rely on children. Moving to a new city to live near them, staying in a retirement home, or accepting a hired caregiver, these are all situations that require elders to be flexible and willing to accept their children's decisions. Stubbornly insisting on being self-reliant or dictating the type of caregiver to hire or whether to remarry only creates unnecessary challenges. Every generation faces its own difficulties. If elders keep causing trouble or being overly critical of their children, it puts them in a difficult position. If tensions escalate, children might become resentful, choosing to focus on their own lives instead of caring for their parents. After all, they shouldn't have to sacrifice their own lives or families. By learning to yield, retirement becomes more adaptable and flexible, making life easier for everyone involved. 3. With relatives and friends, yielding means being courteous. At the end of the Qin dynasty, a young man named Han Xian walked through his village carrying a sword. He looked quite impressive, but a local butcher decided to bully him, humiliating him by forcing him to crawl between his legs. Years later, Han Xian became a founding general of the Han dynasty. When he returned to his hometown, the butcher hid in fear. However, Han Exayan approached him and said, I didn't spare you because I feared you, but because killing you would have ruined my future. Indeed, a wise general knows not to kill flies with a sword, nor to chase rabbits when on a long journey. Hurting others must always be weighed for its worth. Had Han Exayan acted rashly, he might have faced imprisonment, making it impossible for him to achieve his ambitions. When we were young, didn't we often yield to relatives and friends for small gains or avoid unnecessary disputes? As we grow older, even when we no longer seek material gain, it's important to continue yielding. This helps release past grievances, forgive those who hurt us, and understand those who didn't offer help when we needed it. When gathering with friends and family, continue to yield, avoid drinking too much, getting angry, or bringing up old conflicts. Protecting your health is far more important than being right. 4. With strangers, yielding is a way to protect yourself. Why do we sometimes see an elderly person fall in the street, and yet no one stops to help? Is it because people are cold or society is indifferent? Often, it's because people fear being wrongfully accused by the elderly person themselves. A wise elder, when facing difficulties, will actively seek help, speaking kindly to those around them. Showing vulnerability makes it easier to earn sympathy, as people are naturally compassionate. For example, if an elder falls, they should say, "Please help me," to those nearby. After receiving help, they should show gratitude, perhaps even visiting the helper's home to express thanks, involving their own children as well. By spreading kindness, they increase their chances of receiving help when they need it. As we grow older, we must not demand respect simply because of our age. Instead, we should remember that those who love others will be loved in return. 5. As philosopher Immanuel Kant once said, youth is like a lark with a morning song, old age is like a nightingale with an evening tune. Yes, as we grow older, we should aim to be gentle like birds with soft feathers that bring warmth and sweet songs that comfort others. Being quick to anger or conflict doesn't suit an elder, it damages families and society. Choosing to yield doesn't mean you're weak. Rather, it means you're making peace with others and with society. Even the coldest hands can warm with a little care. Yielding, like water, benefits all things without striving for control.